Oh, good morning, everybody, and welcome to ITHive's Tech Show for Saturday morning, February 3rd, episode 20. And today we're going to talk about relationships a little bit more. It's a somewhat important subject for me because it's a key to success for my customers. Anyway, I'll get more into that as we go, but just a couple of notes. So Microsoft is releasing I think they call it the creative update. And I've been noticing with customers that it's been failing on a lot of machines, largely because the video card doesn't support the update. The problem is that there's no clear indication that that's happening. So a lot of machines are out there just trying to apply this update over and over again and failing. And I've actually started, because I can manage this for my clients, turning that update off in situations where it has not been successfully applied a few times. Because whenever I've investigated this has been the case. Not a clear indication, but it seems that incompatibility with hardware causes it to fail. So it would be kind of nice if Microsoft did that proactively and determined whether this could go on this machine or not. But maybe one day we'll get there. Anyway, so that's that update. Another continuing update with enhanced backup protection for your business, and in some cases for residential clients. But I almost at the completion of my testing of the Datto backup system. I have been successfully creating virtualized images of a machine in my environment, and a copy, because I have a metered data connection here, so I can't send an initial copy of half a terabyte of data out to the data center. They have a round trip service, so it is currently in FedEx's hands to be delivered to the data center in Toronto, and then after that I'll be able to recover the machine I'm protecting in real time. So it can blow up, it can get stolen, it can have a serious meltdown, and I will be able to use that machine in the cloud. No problem, just like that, And then on top of that, when I replace that hardware or replace, whatever, I can restore that machine the way it was. Back to its new home. So very powerful stuff, complete business continuation. And, I got to have a little story about this, because I would say for the last 6 years of my career, I have been looking for a business disaster recovery solution that actually works. And I've looked at many companies, and I won't name the failures, but spent lots of time and heard lots of promises, and at the end of the day, nothing was able to deliver. Now, Datto was in that camp too, and I got to say, this is my third time with Datto, and why do I keep coming back? Because out of all the vendors I looked at, two things with Datto: their support was always phenomenal, and secondly, they were the guys that came closest to delivering on actually doing this. Okay, and it's very exciting to reinvigorate this partnership with them again. I'm very, very happy about it, and this time around, I think I'm going to be a lifer. And so, if you're somebody out there that needs a system protected, right, you should talk to me, okay? Because there is no other way to do it. I'm telling you, these guys are phenomenal. So, and this is a little bit of a lead-in when we're talking about relationships. So, I've been doing this business I've been in the tech industry for probably about 25 years now, doing IT support for over 10 years now. And all of this experience has brought me to ITHive.org and trying to create an environment, not only for other techs, but for customers where we can be successful. And what does that success mean? Well, this is what I try and teach to my customers all the time. And just a caveat to that, my customers are not one-off customers, okay? I have a relationship, we have an ongoing process, and there's reasons for that. And you'll probably get an idea of why that occurs. So, for true success to happen with your technology, okay, it involves some human players. I've talked about this before in previous episodes. The human element behind technology is so important. And yes, there's a cost to that, but there's a lot of benefits, okay? So here's what the success looks like. A, you need an IT technician that you trust and rely on. Okay, that's number one. B, that technician needs to be using technology that works. And then that technology that's working needs to come from vendors that stands behind the product. Okay, I am very strong about this. I have fired vendors before in the past because they just weren't stepping up to the plate or their product was not good. I have no problem with that. It's always a hit, and I got to do, a lot of work on my own to switch a vendor. But you know what? If they're not delivering, they're out. It's as simple as that. And if they're not supporting the product, they're out. I have no qualms about that. My customers expect service from us, and because of that, we need to expect service from the vendors. Okay, so that was B. Now, C, which a lot of people miss this C part, and it's so important. Okay, and I talk to my customers about this all the time. Even though we have technology in place and we're monitoring your systems and we're making sure everything's going right and stuff like that, we're all using technology. Okay, you as a customer, okay, need to realize, hey, you know what? There's something not right here. Or, you know what? My computer's not running quite the way it used to, right? That human element it's something that can be missed quite easily. But you as a customer bringing any frustrations or any questions or any concerns back to who's ever supporting your technology, right? Those things can be addressed. If you're saying, oh, I'm not going to say anything, or I'm not going to bring this issue to my technician because, I don't want to spend any money. Well, that kind of defeats the purpose of doing everything, because this is what happens all the time. And this is so important with computers. You can have a problem on your system, right? And it might manifest itself in many ways, right? Some ways are going to be visible. We can pick up through monitoring and stuff like that. Some ways might be a little more elusive. But your feedback is everything, because computers can have problems and they can continue to work. It's, no problem. However, this is what will always happen. That little problem over time will grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And as it's growing, it's becoming more expensive issue to fix. And I don't care if you're a business or a residential client, it's all the same. It all happens the same way. And if you're of the mindset, well, if I have a issue with my computer, I'll just throw it in the dump and buy a new computer. Well, you're the biggest fool around, because these days, when you own technology, if you make the purchase right, and you've heard me talk about this before, computers these days is the same as buying a fridge or a stove. It's not a short-term investment. Done right, it can be a long-term investment, and supported right, it can definitely be a long-term investment. So there's no need to be purchasing new computers every 2 years. This is a 1990s philosophy that does not exist in 2018. Okay, and unless you're buying $200 computers, right? Well, then yeah, fool. All right, so So all those pieces, the partnership, right? So I'm very, very strong about that. And I tell my customers, and I go to the point where if I notice an issue in my customer systems, right, I will let them know. Okay. And I will say, okay, you need to book an appointment with us to get this problem solved. If the customer takes no action, well, I can't do much about that, right? It's an education thing. And, I'll work with that customer. Some get it quicker than others. Some take a longer time. Some never get it, right? But the thing is if I'm pointing out a problem to you, I'm saying, let's deal with this now before it becomes an expensive issue, right? And, luckily for my customers, an unresolved problem stays on my radar. So depending on the seriousness of it, if it's a very, very serious problem, I won't just email communicate. I will try and call the customer and get a hold of them that way and communicate the seriousness and the gravity of the issue that we need to take care of, right? But a lot of times they're just little things, right? A failed update, or something's not occurring the way it should, or a protection process on the system's not working right. All those things can happen, but those are all starting points, right? And you find out why those things have happened and resolve the issue. You're preventing a much bigger problem from happening in the past. And that's why the relationship, if you're stuck in this mindset that I have a technical problem, I'll call random Joe Tech from Joe Tech's computer service one day, and I may or may not be happy with that guy. He'll fly in like a white knight, fix my issue, and then leave. And then, next year I have another problem and I do the same thing. What are you learning, right? What are you getting from that? And what issues are you not getting resolved, right? We take the time here at ITHive.org to educate customers, right? So, and not everybody wants to know, but the thing is that we always take a little bit more, not just solving the problem, right, but understanding why the problem occurred, right? And if it requires a little explanation or a little bit of extra time to explain to a customer why these things happen, then we do that, right? And we do that because technology for a lot of people is intimidating, and we don't want that to exist anymore, right? It shouldn't be intimidating. There's reasons why things happen, and there's reasons why you need to do things, and there's reasons why you need to watch for certain things, right? And we take the time to educate because, there's so many things that keep happening in the IT industry, with ransomware and hackers and all that stuff. And, there's people that are vulnerable. I think right off the top of my head, seniors are very vulnerable on the internet. And, even on the other end of their phone, right? There's so many people out there trying to take advantage of others, right? And, it's crazy. The day is over where you can just exist on the internet and not have some professional help at some level. And this is very important for us as well. We don't create support plan A, B, and C and then try and slot people into that, right? We have base services. We recommend all of them, of course, right, to some varying degree. But as far as supporting the human beings behind the technology, we do that at a level where the customer can, or we and the customer together can understand really what they require as far as support goes, right? And, the longer we have that relationship, the more of an understanding we have of what is required on a monthly basis to support that client, right? And we work with them to bring that at a cost level that makes sense. I'm not going to sell customers things that they don't want, right? And I had a discussion with one of my vendors, and we, when I talk to a customer, I don't sell them anything. We educate, right? We educate them as what their risks are, right? We do things like run through scenarios. When we're talking about image backups and the data protection system that we can now offer, right? A very good way to educate somebody, just as an example, is say, okay, your computer's gone now. It's gone, not available to you. What is it costing you, and what have you lost? Every single one of us should ask that question of our technology, and then put in place things to offset those risks. If you don't do that, you're just waiting for the inevitable disaster. And will that happen? Yes, it will. Technology will fail. If you do not think technology will fail, think again. It will. It will, it will, it will. And you need a plan, and you need to put things in place to prevent that. And especially if you're running a business and you're not investing in those defenses and to protect your business from that kind of failure, I don't know. I've been there, supporting clients that haven't had that in place. Usually it's the first time I see a client, unfortunately, in a light of disaster. And, it's difficult, right? And it can, for a small business, a technology failure can end the business. And it's as simple as that, right? What we do with our technology needs to be at the level of the business owner. The business owner is not aware of the ins and outs of technology and what they're doing and how they're investing it and how they're protected, right? That's a problem. Okay. So when I work with business owners, I make sure they're aware of the risks that they have, right? And it's sometimes challenging, it is, but we work. And like I said before, some are a little faster with the adoption, some take a bit more time, right? And some unfortunately never get it. And but that's fine, right? I'm looking for those that are going to get it, right? And we can do things right, and less frustration and a lot of planning and thinking and being very methodical about their IT support and their IT support plan. That's just the way you do it. Okay. So anyway, it's all about relations, and yes, I deal with technology every day, but I'm not lost on the fact that human relations are everything, from vendors to customers to what we do. We're all human beings, and we need to do our support at that level, right? And make sure that everyone is happy. All right. So gone a little overtime this week, and I'll leave it at that. I hope everybody has a good week ahead and a good weekend, and we will see you all next Saturday for episode 21 at 10 a.m. Eastern. All right. Checking out. We'll see you later. Have a good weekend.